What's the most awkward thing you've witnessed at a high school reunion? Not me, but my Bill's high school reunion. A guy that was severely bullied in high school started a Facebook group to get the ball rolling on planning a high school reunion. He planned the venue, food, drinks, and asked everyone pay a ticket price to cover it all. He organized the money go into a provided bank account. Received 200 plus people's HS reunion delirious and FK'd off. Never to be heard of again. I've never laughed so hard in my life. Graduated in 1962. Never went to any of the reunions. Didn't even know about them until the 50th. In 2012. I had been in odd places in the world, encountered a classmate 50 years later. He gave me the roster. Most of the people who went had never left the small farm town. Of the people who could be tracked, over half the males were dead. Vietnam, drugs, AIDS, and all the random bullshit. I was nobody in high school, but I still seem to be on the green side of the dirt. I play in a band. We got booked by a restaurant for some class reunion. I show up to set up for the gig and it's my f***ing class. I wasn't even invited. I went to my wife's last reunion a few months ago. The day of the reunion she got a call that it was cancelled. Apparently, 5 years earlier a classmate got creepy and stalkery with another classmate. The people organizing the reunion invited him not to show up. Then the guy posted on Facebook some vague threats. They did actually change the venue and have the reunion. But there were many people that couldn't be contacted with the updated info. Nothing. And by nothing, I mean the awkward feeling of being one of the 12 who showed up. My mom's 35th high school reunion was at a bar that I frequent quite a bit. I walked in with my mom and went up to a bartender that I know to order a drink for my mom and I. He looked up at my mother and I and immediately got super shy and weird and then said, "You're the daughter of my mom's name?" Apparently he had a huge crush on my mom in high school and my uncle beat the shit out of him because he creeped my mom out. Very awkward indeed. My friend said her cousin's high school reunion was really awkward because this guy ran up and kissed his high school girlfriend without her asking and then got in a fist fight with her husband. Did not turn out well from what I hear. What? Oh. So it's cool making out 10 years ago, but suddenly it's creepy? Where's the line? Claire? 2 of our classmates passed away before our 5-year reunion. One of the girls organizing the event thought it would be a good idea to make cardboard cutouts of their faces, as if they were truly still here with us. The worst part was that people got drunk and started toting them around, taking pictures with them. It was FK'd up. A guy from our class passed away from cancer shortly before our 20th reunion. He was never super popular but was pretty well known across our class. During the award speech section of the night, a lady, our class president, I think, was trying to get the crowd to settle down for a moment of silence. You could tell it meant a lot to her as she started getting heated. The crowd started shushing one another, and it got just quiet enough to hear somebody say, "Geez. Did somebody die or something?" When I was like 6 I went to my dad's small town 30, year reunion. His ex-fiancée registered sign, not my mom, was dressed in her prom dress, and kept talking to me saying she should have been my mommy. Even then I knew that was weird. I was there with a guy friend when he saw his ex. They approached each other, him going in for a hug and her extending her hand to shake. When they each realized what the other was doing, she put her arms out for a hug, and he extended his hand to shake. By the time they touched, it was just a jumble of hands and arms weirdly touching each other. He started by saying, "Sue, how have you been?" I just said, "Oh, excuse me," and got the hell away from them. At my 10th year HS reunion, a guy I hated and who hated me showed up and came directly toward me. Not saying anything at all to me, he then engaged the person standing right next to me on my left. He proceeded to move around the room talking to literally everyone there, only 33 people in my class, and stopping with the person on my right. Didn't so much as acknowledge my existence the whole rest of the day. It was super weird at the time. But many years later it was the most memorable thing that happened. I laugh about it now. Edited to clarify 10-year reunion. At my 10th. The organizers gave awards to people for various reasons. One girl from our class was given an award for having the most kids of anyone there. She'd had 4 by different guys, which was part of the announcement. The look on her face as she slinked up to the podium said it all. Someone made a speech along the lines of, "Dot. All of those that felt picked on or bullied. I have something to say to you." She then started to sing Let It Go from Frozen. A kid in my class, 1982, was hit by a car during our junior year and wound up in a persistent vegetative state. We had heard bits and pieces of information about him in the years after, but none of it sounded reliable. He was dead. He was still in a coma. He had come out of it. He was normal. He had become a born-again Christian. He lived at home and couldn't do anything for himself. You name it. We had heard it. Every reunion. There's still misinformation being passed around about the guy. In our 10-year reunion program he was on the in memoriam page. Then it was pointed out he wasn't dead. Last fall we had our 35th reunion and he was announced along with the "Let's take a minute to remember our departed classmates," and then others pointed out that they thought he was still alive and living in Florida now. I don't think we'll ever find out the truth. Not that it matters. Though. He was a ref king dick anyway. The captain of the football team was a pretty sad sight. He looked like hell and was so proud of sneaking booze in with his flask. I mean. At my 10-year reunion it was more everyone getting really pissed. At the 20th there were a few people seemingly bitter at those who had done pretty well in life. When my lady teacher came up to me, kissed me on the cheek and told me she loved me. She was very drunk. I felt very awkward. Edit. No, she wasn't hot. She was old. One spell corrected a Christmas card I gave her. And the night of the formal. Smelled strongly of booze. Haven't had a high school reunion yet. But here's a fun one from my mom's 3rd reunion. She went with my dad back to her hometown for the reunion. My dad grew up in a different place. So he didn't know anybody there. Bored out of his mind. He decided to have some fun and found a way to discreetly ask someone who the biggest juvenile delinquent troublemaker was in their graduating class. Let's call him Albert Davis. So, my dad went to the name tag table and found Albert Davis's name tag. He put it on and went around saying hi to everyone just to watch their reactions. Because most of them assumed that Albert Davis was in prison. My mom did not think it was funny. I went with my wife to her reunion. I may have had 1 or 3 before arriving. And when I got there I remembered hearing a story of a guy who was my wife's 3rd grade boyfriend. Later in life he had a rough time of things, drugs, alcohol, run-ins with the law, etc. As a joke, I wrote his name on my name badge and went about my business. Not long after, a rather strong and stocky woman turned around, looked at me, then at my name tag. When she saw the name she looked up at me, screamed excitedly as loud as I've ever heard, bear hugged me while lifting me off the ground, and bit my neck. No blood, but decent bruise. I honestly thought that the stocky woman was going to end up being the 3rd grade boyfriend. At my 10-year reunion one of the good-looking, but not very bright guys from my class argued WTH me that we had had sex in HS. After 10 minutes of me trying to explain to him that we had never had sex, I realized that he was thinking of my friend's sister, not me. He then was like, "Well, we can fix that." I declined and left. He went 10 years not knowing who he had sex with. I'm not touching that with someone else's vag, much less me own. Got invited by Facebook message, we're not friends on FB, by one of the girls who made pretty much the whole time I was there a living hell. Didn't attend obviously. Because everyone I wanted to keep in touch with I did, but got an "oh sorry we missed you hun. We should do lunch soon" message. But Why? Selective memory. Or some people don't realize they were bullies. It was a party with all our old high school people at it. Not sure if people actually have reunions anymore. But it ended up the same effect. I met up with an ex. And an ex-buddy of mine kept saying shitty about how we would be perfect back together. It was just stupid for a ton of reasons. And dude kept pushing. First, I was married. Didn't bother this dude, he said we should just bang and not tell my wife. Second, she's a lesbian. No interest in men. I knew this already and she trusted telling me even though I think she kept it private. But this guy pushed and when she said she liked girls he just told her to bring her girlfriend along. I don't even know the guy's end game, but he looked like a total idiot and I'm pretty sure he made my ex feel pretty uncomfortable. Then I had to feel uncomfortable when I finally told him to FCK off. Went to wife's reunion. Introduced myself as George Michael. I was only there 3 weeks. I was bullied so I left, but invited me. Some people actually bought the story. For us younger folk, will there even be a physical reunion? Somebody made a graduating class of 20XX page like a year after graduation, which has like one post for a few months and then had been absolutely dead for several years now. Wait until you're all just having your reunion in VRecat. The lighting was dim. We were old. And some nitwit decided to let people scroll their own name tags, which then hung on lanyards at crotch level. Nobody could hear anything over the snot-nosed DJ blasting Eye of the Tiger, and trying to figure out who you were talking to was pretty awkward. I dropped out of school and received my GED. Someone invited me to the reunion for the class I would have graduated with. They gave out trophies like most of the other reunions that folks have posted already. I received an award for most successful. I guess getting a college degree and holding a job for more than a year is successful. Super awkward going up on stage for that one. And no, Karen. I will not f-king build your husband's fetish site for Azul favors. My wife, at the time, and I had dated all through HS and college. We married and had a child. We still had a few close friends we graduated with that were going as well. I would say there was about a 70% turnout. We had a good time and everyone got pretty drunk. We all mingled and my wife talked to a guy who she had cheated on me with right after HS. They didn't speak for more than 3 minutes. They hadn't spoke since that day almost 10 years before. We had moved past it and had a family. At least that's what I thought. Less than a month after the reunion I could tell that something wasn't right. When I asked her about it, she told me she wasn't happy and wanted a divorce. We had been together for a very long time and I was devastated. After a week of feeling like I had failed in doing everything I could to win her back, I discovered she had been having an affair with that same guy. My HS reunion the last years have gone from a reunion to just a way for the school to make $sign. Now everybody can enter if they buy a ticket and you can't speak to anyone because it's dark and the music is so f-king loud. I heard that a classmate set the venue on fire. Glad I didn't go. Was lit though. Not my high school reunion but my mother's. She walked in and was saying hi to a few of the women when one of them dragged their husband over. In a very loud voice she said, "You remember pulsing cat butts, mom? Her brother was the one that fired you last month." My mom ended up avoiding them the rest of the night. Actually, my OSA high school reunion was the awkward thing. I didn't attend. And neither did very many people. Everyone pretty much hated each other. And from what I heard, only one clique turned up, with the odd person from one or two others making an appearance. Even though I didn't go, it was still awkward when a girl who severely bullied me at school tried adding me on Facebook to invite me to the reunion. She still hates me to this day. So I don't even know why she would have wanted me there, let alone directly contact me. Pretty cheerleader type approaches my husband at a local event. Extremely chipper and excited. "Hi, Chad. How have you been? Are you going to the class reunion?" He smiles big. And in an equally chipper and excited voice, "No." At our 15th they asked, Then gave out prizes for the person who'd traveled the farthest to attend. Traveled the least far to attend. Had the newest car. The oldest car. The youngest child. Full stop. Full stop. The look on the IMZ's face when he realized what asking for the oldest child would mean. Full stop. Full stop. Had a 10-year reunion last year. Things were going well at this low-key local bar. Things shut down about 1 AM, however everyone is having fun and doesn't want to shut it down. Turns out the old school captain, smart dude. Not particularly socially intelligent though, says let's head back to his place to kick on. Tells the whole grade, 100-150 people, to drink what they want. Including his dad's blue label scotch, which he thought was the cheap stuff, ended up costing him several thousand, and apparently his dad, rather understandably, wasn't stoked. 5-year reunion. Basically it boiled down to what do you do for work? And if you had anything lucrative, people wanted to be your best friend and try and get connections. People coming up to me asking me what's up and seem to know a whole deal about me while I have no memory of who they are at all. I didn't go to my 10-year. But drama unfolded on Facebook in the planning stages. One guy decided the official reunion wasn't good enough. So he planned a competing reunion and tried to siphon people off of the other. When people started posting confusion to the event page, the argument between the two reunion leaders went something like 80 comments deep. The best part is, the then current principal, who'd been a popular teacher when we were students, actually had to step in and mediate. It was effing hysterical. I had been on the fence about going since I stayed close to my good friends in high school and Facebook kept me informed about anyone else I cared to know about. But that whole thing sealed it for me. Edit. I didn't go. It's true what they say about 10-year reunions. Nobody has changed. I went to mine with my roommate. Everyone thought we were married or something. I'm male, she's female. When we started dancing with other PPL, girls would look over my shoulder at my roommate and then slowly dance away from me. It wasn't like I was getting all close or anything. On the flip side, this one dude just stopped dancing with my roommate and left without a word. When she came to tell me about what happened, we both turned to see that he was making a beeline for the exit. After telling this to a mutual friend. 5-year reunion. Took my husband. Guy who liked me freshman year, then never talked civilly to me again. Told me he was going to die alone and unloved behind a dumpster. Note: he had been a popular football player. I was a social outcast. Some older woman stole the name tag for exchange student Kim Fung Toy and then had a heart attack. My 25-year reunion was last year. They did all the planning via a Facebook group. I did not join the group but could see the activity. I was scrolling through and a few months prior they had done a memorial post where they listed all the dead classmates. Someone I haven't seen or spoken to in 25 years, and didn't know well anyway, reported me as dead. The kicker: someone I was friends with on Facebook liked the post. I unfriended her. Happened to. Not witnessed. I walked right past the guy I dated for 2.5 years. He'd gained so much weight I didn't recognize him. The only slightly awkward thing was noticing that even a decade after high school, the room was, inadvertently, divided into cliques. One group sitting around one table. Another group going outside to smoke. Etc. My reunion, though, was free of awkwardness and or drama, at least as far as I could tell. Maybe my experience is unique, because I like my class and my high school years were pretty happy ones. Went with my, now, wife to hers. It was a small class and she had a pretty small group of friends who she hung out with. Tickets were like $200 each, open bar, food, DJ, etc. Day before she finds out the two people she was really looking forward to seeing couldn't make it. Day of another friend got in an accident and couldn't make it. And the last one just didn't go. So we ended up sitting at a table basically by ourselves. She got a bit drunk and was the person who dances by themselves all night person. We had a 1-year reunion. It was basically we're all home from college. Why not all go out? We were there no longer than 20 minutes and one of the guys turned to one of the girls and said, "Nice to see you're still a CNT." She hit the fan after that. It was not out of the blue whatsoever. The reaction was more of that was fast.